I will never forget the night I saw my uncle crawl out of the forest on all fours. His mouth was dripping with blood. His eyes were glowing like fire. And when my father called his name, he didn't answer like a man. He growled. That was the moment I learned evil doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it comes from your own blood. My name is Chioma. I grew up in a small village in eastern Nigeria. Life was simple. We farmed, we traded, and we leaned on one another as family. But family, I later learned, can also be your biggest enemy. My father, Ejike, was a hardworking man. People respected him because he had everything he built with his own hands. He had 3 children, me and my 2 sisters. We were not rich, but we were blessed. But my uncle, my father's older brother, was different. His name was Okoro. Okoro was the kind of man who could never be happy for others. If your crops grew well, he complained. If your children succeeded, he mocked them. If you were laughing, he found a reason to frown. And the more my father prospered, the more bitterness grew in him. At first, I thought he was just jealous. I didn't know envy could turn into something darker. I remember one day, my father returned from the market with bags of rice, salt, and clothes for us. We were so happy. My sisters danced. My mother sang. But my uncle was standing at the corner of the compound, watching us with a strange smile. He said, "Ejike, enjoy your happiness. But remember, the tree that grows too fast can also be cut down quickly." My father laughed it off. But I felt cold inside. A few weeks later, an old woman named Mama King came to visit. She was known in the village for her wisdom. She looked my father in the eye and said, "Ejike, beware of your brother. His heart is not clean. Envy can eat a man's soul. Protect your children. Protect yourself." But my father shook his head and smiled. "Okoro is my blood. He may be bitter, but he will not harm me." Mama King only sighed. Blood can turn to poison. It started small. One morning, we woke to find one of our goats dead. Its body was stiff, foam at the mouth. Nobody knew why. The next week, another goat. Then chickens. At the same time, my sisters became sick. Both at once. High fever, sweating, shivering. The village nurse tried every medicine, but nothing worked. At night, strange things began happening. We heard footsteps on the roof. Sometimes, scratching at the windows. When we opened the door, nothing was there. But the scariest thing happened one night when I woke up thirsty. I went to the window to get fresh air. And I saw him. My uncle. He was standing outside in the moonlight. His eyes, they were shining strangely. At his feet, something moved. It looked like a goat, but its eyes were red. He was whispering, like he was talking to it. I shouted. He looked up at me. And in an instant, he disappeared into the bush. The next morning, when we checked, we saw footprints in the soil. They started as human footprints. But halfway, they changed into hooves. That was the first time I knew, deep down, that something was terribly wrong. My father finally went to face my uncle. "Brother, if you are angry with me, say it. If I offended you, tell me. But why are you troubling my house?" My uncle laughed, a cold laugh. "Not every shadow comes from me. Your happiness is just running out." But the way he looked at us, it wasn't the look of a man. It was the look of someone who wanted to see us fall. The worst night came a few weeks later. We were asleep when our dogs began barking like mad. My father grabbed his cutlass and stepped outside. I followed, though my legs were shaking. The moon was bright. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Then we saw it. Something was crawling out of the forest. It was my uncle. But his body wasn't normal. His arms were too long. His eyes glowed like fire. His mouth was covered in blood. And the way he moved, it was not human. My sister screamed inside. My father shouted, "Okoro! What is this?" But my uncle didn't answer. He growled like an animal. Then he rushed at us, moving faster than any man should. My father swung his cutlass, but it passed through him like smoke. I felt my chest tighten. The air grew cold. Then, from nowhere, Mama Kin appeared. She was holding a clay pot and some leaves. She began to chant in a strong voice, calling on God and the ancestors. My uncle stopped. His body shook violently. He screamed, a scream that shook the ground. His shape shifted, flickering between man and beast. Finally, with one last cry, he fell to the ground. Weak, bleeding. The elders gathered the next day. My uncle didn't speak. He just sat there, eyes empty. Everyone knew the truth. His envy had driven him to dark powers. They banished him from the village. His wife left. His children scattered. He lived alone for years, until he died in shame. My father never recovered fully. He became quieter, more watchful. And he always told us, family is not always friend. Some smiles hide knives. Now, as a grown woman, whenever I remember that night, my blood runs cold. I know what I saw. Evil is real. And sometimes, it comes from those closest to you. From this story, I've learned. Jealousy destroys more than it builds. My uncle lost everything because he let envy control him. Not everyone is happy about your success. Even family can wish you harm. Always protect yourself. Some battles are spiritual, not physical. Contentment brings peace. The happiest people are not the richest, but the most grateful. That's my story. Some of you may doubt it. Some may laugh. But I will never forget the night I saw my uncle crawl out of the bush, with fire in his eyes.